This episode brought to you by Nomadic Research, built for the wild and forged in adversity. Somewhere between the front lines and the firelight, a vision was born. The founders of Nomadic Research spent years in the harshest environments on Earth, where grit and resilience weren't just words, but a way of life. They saw a need for gear that could handle anything, gear that wasn't just built, but built to last. From battlefields to backcountry trails, every piece of Nomadic Research gear is designed with one mission: unyielding performance for those who refuse to quit. The founders believe in patriotism, personal responsibility, and the freedom of the great outdoors, because adventure isn't just a weekend escape, it's a way of life. Born in the heart of Afghanistan, forged in adversity, and built for the wild, Nomadic Research is gear for those who go further. You can start your adventure at nomadicresearch.com. Hey guys, welcome back to the DTD podcast, Dynamic Tales Delivered. This week in the studio, my guest was a Green Beret, 8 years of sacrifice, training, and brotherhood. Then a single training accident stole it all. Left with traumatic brain injury, addiction, and a broken identity, he faced the war inside. Today, he tells the raw truth about loss, resilience, and clawing his way back to life. Please welcome into the studio, Nicholas Allen. What's going on, my friend?
Oh, what's up, man? That sounds so much more official and terrible than it did when you write it down.
Yeah, well, whatever. We like to make you uncomfortable as we possibly can on here. So, I know you don't like talking about yourself, but I thought you should come on. I thought we should talk about this because your story is definitely one that needs to be out there. And I think it needs to be out there because when you and I have talked in the past, you've told me you're all about positivity. You're not about breaking stuff down. You're not about calling things out. You're about promoting that positive story of life. And I love it. That's what I try and do on this show. And I know you do it on yours. So welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, man. I try. The negativity is always there and it's contagious. So I try as much as I can to be positive and look at things from a positive angle and move in a positive direction. But that hasn't always been like that. So we try the best we can moving forward.
So, speaking of that, I was going to ask you, do you think it's always been like that in your life, that you've been positive about everything or tried to be positive about everything?
No. I've kind of moved away from this, but I'm a optimistic pessimist. I hope for the best while being severely pessimistic about everything. Big complainer in the military as well, but it was like the complaining where it's funny, where you're not like dragging other people down. You're complaining to make light of things and lighten the mood, but still, highlighting the negativity in every situation is kind of a bummer, but it worked for me. And I fed off of it a lot of the time, but there's a lot of depression and anger and hate and going around. And I want to do if I can't do the exact opposite, I want to get at least moving in the other direction as much as I can. Because there's some things that need to be said and people that need to be held accountable. That's not my job because I don't have the resume to do that or to speak on anybody's experience because I haven't done a lot of those things. So that's not my resume. But, I can be positive because I didn't get to do everything I wanted to do. And a lot of people don't think that their service or their accomplishments or what they did for their country is worthy of celebration or acknowledgement. And I do. I think that is the case. And I think everybody should be proud of what they did as long as they didn't, defraud the elderly or hurt children or hurt animals. Everything else is a kind of gray area. So,
well, let's go all the way back like we always start. And let's talk about, what kind of drove you into this life of service, why you wanted this so bad, because I've heard you say in other places that that's all you wanted to do. All you wanted to be was a Green Beret. Was that early on or was that later on as you start to get into your, later years graduating from high school and stuff?
No, I've thought about it more, and the more I think about it, I feel like it in my head, it changes because, I'm just remembering memories of me telling the story. So I don't really know. I do know when I got to basic training, I was like, I want more of this. And I was disappointed with basic training on how much it did not live up to my expectations. Uh, it was not difficult. It was not hard. There was no, I thought that the discipline that was going to be there, it wasn't there. And it just was. So that was it. Now, before that, I walked into the Marine recruiter's office and they said, nope, we can't take you. You have too many tattoos. Or you had a tattoo, I think, on the back. I had one on the back of my neck, and that disqualified me from service. So, I mean, and everybody else that the Marines are very good at marketing. As a civilian, you think from watching ads and billboards and pamphlets, and they go to schools and have kids do pull-ups and competition. That really sets them apart on the recruiting side. Everybody thinks the Marines are the best, right? So I did too. And I went over there and they said, no, we're not going to take you. So I walked right over the Army recruiters and I said, what's the hardest thing you got? And they said, well, it's, special forces. And I was like, all right, that sounds difficult. Now, my contract didn't work out with me taking an 18 X-ray contract or anything like that, but I got there eventually. So I guess to go back to answer your question, I think it started right there when the Marines told me no. And in my mind, something said, well, I'm going to do something so much harder or more prestigious than this because this Marine recruiter, who was covered in tattoos on his hands and sleeves, told me I couldn't enlist in the Marines. So I think that's the nexus of it.
So, what was your actual initial MOS when you came in?
So I failed the dot test, colorblind dot test at MEPS, the old bunch of different colors, failed it miserably. So I was red, green, good, but I couldn't pass that. I couldn't even get like 2 of them. So I took 13 PAPA, which is a multiple launch rocket systems fire direction systems specialist.
Good old Fort Sill.
Yep. And she said, you're going to Fort Sill. I said, all right. And yeah, that was how it all started. Now, everything happened as fast as it did because I took that job. If I had gone infantry and gone to an airborne unit and gone to infantry basic, I probably would have been a much different timeline for getting over there to selection and things like that, because I probably would have enjoyed the unit that I was in and running around doing Army stuff with people that kind of wanted to be there, jumping out of planes and things. But that was apparent that was not the case at Fort Sill immediately.
That did you go like OSA where you went through everything right there all in one?
Kind of. It still was one site, but it wasn't one school. And I don't know how infantry. I know that I think now they have drill sergeants through the whole way, but we were on the other side of the highway for basic training. Don't remember how long that was. And then we got in a van and drove the 2 miles across post to the artillery school, and they dropped us off. And we went through another 6-week course, I think, or something like that. But so it was one site, but it wasn't cohesive.
Right. Did you like it at all?
It- I wouldn't say I liked it. I wanted more of it. I wanted it to be harder. I wanted more. I wanted to be more Army. I wanted to be more professional. I wanted it to be more competitive. I just wanted it to be more of what it should be. So that was my experience. And people can believe me or not, I've only been smoked twice in my life, and both of those times were at selection. I have never been told to do push-ups or, smoked for no reason or anything like that, except for at selection both times when we did log and rifle PT. We did not there was no adverse action the drill sergeants could take against us during basic training. They couldn't really yell at us, and there was really no punishments. It was just very ambiguous. And I believe that a couple cycles before us, some of the drill sergeants had been relieved for abusing trainees, and so things just weren't. There was no. It just wasn't there. I don't know what it wasn't, but it wasn't there. And my friend who enlisted with me went right across the street to the other basic training company that we could see the pad there, and they got smoked for 2-3 hours a day every day. And they're running around. He's like, yeah, it was terrible. Like there's, throwing stuff in the bay. I was like, so we had completely different experiences. So maybe that also led into the way things were in my head, my perspective of the Army and how it was, but just disappointing from the beginning, and then that continued on. But
So,
I guess I don't know if I answered your question. Did I like it? Absolutely, I liked it. I just wanted more of it.
well, here's the thing though that I want to ask. When you don't think that um you say you want more army, you want stricter a regime going on and all of that kind of stuff. Does that set you apart from your classmates, the guys that you're going through training with? Is there kind of a disconnect there or a disassociation with those people because you wanted more?
Oh, yeah, that's going to be at any. Uh, you got a bunch of young people running around. It's all competition. You're measuring each other up against one another. For I was there for business, like to be a soldier, to make it a career, to do whatever you want to say, right? I was there to
Right.
work. Some people aren't, and that's okay too. Um, some people join for college. Some people join to pay off student loan debts. Some people, they have no other option. Maybe I had other option, but no, it's like, this is what I want to do. I've found something I want to do. Um, it, it's not hard to get into the top 10% of any field that you go into, and it's just a little bit more effort to get into the 1%. But the difference between the bottom of that 1% and the top of a 1% is very steep. And so you can set yourself apart just by caring about what you do pretty easily. And yeah, especially at maybe at Fort Sill, Oklahoma for basic training, or Fort Jackson, or Fort, what's the other one? But where if it's infantry, everybody's at Benning, all the same goal, same everything. But when you have such a wide array of jobs, you're going to get a wide variety of people, and it's just going to be a different experience. People can say it's the same, but it's not. When you've got 99% infantry, and a guy's going to RIP, guys going to 18 X-ray contracts over at Benning, that's going to be a completely different thing. So I just had a different experience, and that's the way it went.
So you couldn't go 18 X-ray because of the test, because of the colorblind test?
See, I don't remember. I don't know what the deal was. I also don't, when I say I didn't really, as soon as I got to basic training, I was like, a switch flipped. I was like, yes, this is it. I don't really think I took the recruitment uh,
Seriously.
process very seriously.
Yeah.
I didn't take the ASVAB seriously. I didn't take the meetings with the drill sergeants or anything seriously because I didn't have to. It's just like, okay, well, whatever. Let's just do this. Um, and but as soon as I got to, and I said, I did this in training, and I noticed this about myself in training, and whenever we had to do something in the military, I up until the second it was time to be serious, I would just be a goofball, or I would be making jokes and kind of goofing around, not taking things seriously. And then the moment it was time to be serious, I would turn it on. And then as soon as it was time to turn it off, I just would. So, kind of done that my whole life.
So let's start off the whole conversation then by you give me your dream career in the Army. You tell me how it goes from recruitment until you are done with that life.
Oh, from what age? From what age and what perspective?
I'm talking from the very beginning. When you walk into the recruiter's office, You can use hindsight, you can use whatever you want, but you give me your perfect career.
Let's see, hindsight. No, hindsight doesn't work. Um, so you got to go from the perspective of when you're going through it. I wanted to be the best at everything I did from the time I got in. So whatever I could do to go do that, that would be the best 20-year career, is to be operating at the top of my game the whole time. That's not feasible, but if you try, you can probably have a pretty successful, fulfilling career. Now, on the backside of that is it's never enough. You're never going to be happy with where you are. But I guess to a successful 20-year career would be trying to keep climbing the entire time, but also to be satisfied with the process of getting there and knowing that you can't get to the top, but at least you tried.
Okay, so let's talk about then what kind of units, what kind of jobs are you doing? Not just looking at it from a 30,000 foot level. I'm asking you, going through your career, where is it that you're performing at the top of your game?
I was top of my class at basic AIT. When I went to the Q course, I don't know, maybe I was number 2 or something like that in my one side of the class. Like, it was everywhere I went. But I mean, then you get to group, and then everybody's trying to do that too. So I just wanted to get to a unit where it was just like that, where everybody was a high performer. But to do the job, I wanted to be a Green Beret. That's all I wanted to be. So I had that in my head. That's all I thought about. That's all I trained to do. But I say that I had no idea what a Green Beret actually did until I was well over halfway through the Q course. I just knew that was what was pulling me that direction, was a Green Beret and a Special Forces tab. But
So what was
I don't
that
think I
switch
answered
then?
your question.
What made you want to be a Green Beret then? What was the match point?
Well, I think the recruiter had said offhand comment that was the hardest thing that you could go to do in the Army. I think I brought it up in basic training to my drill sergeant a few times, and he said, "Yeah, just go to selection and pass that, and then go to the Q course." So it was also an easy path to get out of the regular Army. Sitting around in the motor pool and waiting for some sergeant to tell you to go home at 1700 when you haven't done anything all day. Yeah, just what was it? What was it? I mean, a lot of things, but probably most of them I can't describe.
Well, the reason I ask is because I'm wondering if it was a specific thing. You saw a specific person. I know they told you that Special Forces was the hardest thing, but I almost am asking that question as, was it a fuck you to that Marine Corps recruiter?
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. You get something in your head, and it's like, that's hard. I want to do that. And the military is very easy. You show up the right place, right time, right uniform. Very hard to get fired if you're not getting in an incident. So it keeps you on the tracks, and you could just focus on and doing what you think. So doing hard things. I was a wrestler in high school. That's hard, but I didn't apply myself. I was good, but I could have been great, and I didn't have the motivation. So I don't know what it was. I've said a few times to people, if I had the motivation that I have now, or the drive to run myself into the ground to succeed, then I would have accomplished what I wanted in high school. But that wasn't the case. These things weren't paired up. So now you get into a system that is incredibly easy, the military, to succeed. It's all on paper. All these things are laid out for you. And you go, well, maybe I don't have to concentrate on this. Money's not an issue as long as you're just trying to do something. They're going to keep paying you, so you're completely uninhibited to strive for success, to climb a mountain, because you could and you can put everything else aside. You're in a fantasy world. The Army's not real. It's a fantasy world outside of the United States. It exists completely different laws and regulations and rules, and it's just okay. I want to go do this, so let's go do it. And I don't know, it's weird. No, I'm not a fuck you to that recruiter. He was following the regulations, but maybe just to myself, like, okay. Maybe to the marketing people in the early 2000s of the Marines that had made it seem like that was the hardest thing that you can do.
Right.
And then they wouldn't take me, but the recruiter, no, man, he's doing his job. He's doing his job.
I've never heard someone describe the Army as a fantasy world outside of everything, but it makes me kind of think onto your situation. Do you think that after living that life for 8 years and it being that fantasy world and how you looked at it, that's what gave you so much trouble on the backside?
This is what gives everybody trouble. The Army's not real. It's not a thing. It's a machine that doesn't care about you. When you enlist in the military, you leave this planet and you go to a different base with a fence around it, with new rules, regulations, cultures, customs, courtesies, and you can go to jail for not jumping out of an airplane. If you don't feel safe, you're not saluting an officer, you can get in trouble. Like all this weird stuff that starts happening that doesn't transfer over to the civilian world. It's completely different. And then you start getting used to it. You get used to the culture, and then it starts becoming part of who you are and your uniform. Well, now all my accomplishments are on my uniform. If not my regular uniform I wear every day, it's my dress uniform. Everything you've done in your whole career is listed right there for people to see or you to be proud of. And it becomes who you are and how you hold yourself and carry yourself and your successes and failures and all these other things. And the more you hang out in this place, the more you go native, the more it is you. I mean, some people come in when they're 18 and they don't get out for 30 years. They were only in the civilian world for 18 years. And how much do you know when you're 18? Jack shit, right? So all of your formative adult years were in this place that's not the real world. And then it ends. And so then you have to go back. Oof, that's like getting out of prison, right? That's like getting out of prison for 30 years where you enjoyed where you were, but you enjoyed it. You enjoyed it so much. The people, you kept staying because you liked the people you were working with and associating with, and you liked the structure and and I go back to it, how easy it was. Right place, right time, right uniform, and follow the NCO creed. Now you're a senior leader and you've got people that you're in charge of and you've got responsibility and all these other things. And then it ends. That's all you wanted from your life, to do that, and then it ends. Oh, and what did you sacrifice to stay in that world? What did you give up? Are you alone? Do you have your friends again? They're gone. They're having the same troubles that you're having. When they got out, they don't want to talk to you because now you're not legally obligated to be together. Yeah, everybody struggles with it. Everybody that comes on my show on the enlisted side goes into some sort of slump of depression from anywhere from 6 months to 10 years. And it's tough to drag yourself out of it because it's a lot easier to go get a bottle of whiskey and press the pause button until tomorrow. Yeah, that's why.
I would put forth to you though, and you tell me if you agree that there's a lot of jobs like that though in the world. Everyone that you go into, I can talk to you from law enforcement perspective. It's a whole different world. You're held to a different standard on and off duty. You're not inside a fenced in area, but you're definitely held to a different standard. And there's rules that apply to you that don't apply to a normal person. If you look at people that work in hospitals, it's the same way. You can get in trouble for, not caring or not, preventing something from happening. So I wonder then why it's so different for military.
Um, you can totally seclude yourself inside that base. Law enforcement and firefighters is much worse. And law enforcement is much worse because you're in the community you're deployed all year long. Like
Right.
there's no rest. You go work 40, 60 hours a week, and then you go to the grocery store and there's the crackhead that you arrested outside, or, you know, uh, some guy that you arrested that you know is probably going to take an opportunity to bash you over the head if he gets you in a compromised position or something. So you always have to be on guard. Much worse for them, because they don't they're not segregated. You can go off into the army and disappear and never come back and just live that entire life. But no, those are completely different, like, levels of disassociating from real life. You're, as a law enforcement officer, you have made uh, you have just heightened so much the stress levels of your real life by taking that position. Very honorable, and I think even more. It can be more detrimental to your psyche in those ways too, because we see similar things: the depression, the anger, the suicide, and all those other things as well.
Yeah, and I agree to that. What I would see from most guys, and that's kind of why I started the show, was you see them work 20, 25, 30 years, they retire and they're dead 6 months later from whatever it was that did it, whether it's alcohol, whether it's suicide, whether it's just a bad heart or whatever. But what I've seen is a lot of guys that step away too, they're happy to go into that world that you just talked about the army was. They want to be secluded. They want to be away from it all. They don't want to be the guy that's upholding, everything. You got to follow this rule and you got to follow this rule. They just want to be left alone. Would you agree with that?
They do want to be left alone. What you mean, when they leave the military and then they
No,
come
no,
out the
no.
civilian
When they
side and they
leave
want?
law enforcement, they want to go into kind of that world that you just talked about the army, where you can go there and disappear for 30 years. That's what they kind of want to do at the end of their law enforcement careers, is they just want to go be the gray man. They just want to be left alone and be away from it all.
Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you, if you were stressed out where you live for 30 years, where you live? Like in the military, though, you're leaving that. You're leaving that place you wanted to be at, and then you're going to this new place, and you gotta blend in. You gotta figure it out. And there's not steady paycheck. If yeah, you could be retired, but oh man, I've been working for this long, however long. I gotta have a project, and I gotta start over. And then I also think there's a social, um, I don't know the right term, but you are stunted at a certain point, some sort of emotionally, when you join the military at an age also, and you come back out because you're like, I, the last time you were a civilian was when you were 18 years old. So you come back out, and somewhere back here, deep in the files, is your knowledge about how you acted when you were a civilian last time. And I think that affects how you deal with people on the outside as well too. So I think there's a lot that goes into it. And it's not the same for everybody else. Everybody else has got a different path and things and injuries and stresses and family life and home life and injuries they haven't taken care of. So no, there's no blanket statement for everybody. But I guess, to get back to what you're saying, for a mind thing, uh, who knows? I got 13 or so concussions that have shaped the way I think, and all these injuries and uh, drinking too much for years, and that, and then the physical side of things, and luckily I graduated and got my beret and then got hurt. I'd be dead if I didn't get it and I'd lost that. Like that thing over there, that little claw saved my life. I would be devastated if it get to that, and then you just fall short or you don't get it. Uh, and so, like, it all matters, and then it all doesn't after a while. So
So let's talk about going through selection and everything. You finally get to go. This is what you wanted to do. Walk me through your emotions of actually going through that selection process, because you just told me if you wouldn't have made it, if you would have fell short, you
no, I
probably
mean, like going through the course and getting close to graduation. Like I fell short when I first started at selection. I hurt myself like the first
okay.
time. I got medically dropped, and that was the best thing that could have happened to me if in the process. Because I went back to my unit, and it was a completely different way of attacking things. Granted, the military tried to kill me 1 month before I went to selection by not treating a staph infection that I had. They tried to First they tried to ignore it, and then they tried to tell me I had herpes or syphilis all on my face. And then they just were going to let me die until my buddy took me to the hospital and made them take care of me. And then that I lost all my train up. So then I went to selection like kind of at a disadvantage. I probably trained too hard. And when I got to selection, I hurt myself pretty much right away, and I got dropped halfway through. And I came back and uh, used all those lessons learned and trained up harder, better, smarter, much smarter, and went back and crushed it the second time. So, but yeah, it was a good setback. I gained a. I don't trust the military at all after that point. After they tried to kill me, and I was going to do whatever I can to get to where I want to go, and I'm going to use the Army against itself to get there.
So what's your emotions the first time you're dropped? This is just, I'm talking about the day that it happens where they tell you you can no longer go through selection. What are you feeling?
Oh, terrible. I got lumped in with all the people that quit. Like I couldn't bend my leg anymore. And the cadre is like you can't walk. And that's like, great. So I got lumped in with all the people that quit. Um, and I don't really remember too much. I remember limping around for a few days. I think I had to stay I did have to stay the rest of the time until everybody left. And just feeling like shit. Cause they're looking, and I think you think in your mind, they're all looking at you like all those quitters. They got other shit to worry about. You're the only one worrying about you and how you feel. So I'm just in my head feeling like shit. And so you get back, and really the worst is when you get back to your unit and they go, "Did you pass?" I got med dropped, and they're like, yeah, okay, whatever, because they don't know if you're telling the truth. I'm obviously limping, but I could be making that shit up too. And then you start doubting yourself. You're like, could I have made it? Could I have made it? No, I couldn't have made it. Like I couldn't walk. So we get back, knee heals up. I think I had just the sac behind my knee had swelled up so much that I couldn't bend my leg anymore or something like that. And so that went away after a while. And yeah, I just remember feeling like absolute shit, like the biggest loser in the world. And I was like, I'm never going to let that happen again. I'm obviously going back as soon as I can. And it wasn't as soon as I can, but I went back after the summer break. So that was January. I went back in September because there's no July or August class. So I thought June was a little too soon. And so I went back in September.
When you go back, well, first off, let's talk about when you're about to go, because you're still around all your people that you work with and you're telling them, yeah, I'm going back to selection again. And do you feel like they're all looking at you again like, okay, great. Yeah, you're going back. We'll see you in a little while.
I was lucky. They knew I didn't belong there. I don't know why, because you hear horror stories from other guys that my command, didn't support me or anything like that. No, commander did, first sergeant did. My NCO made it very clear to me. He said, "Just get out of here, man. You don't belong here," and let me do. And they, I believe, were on orders. So I got my selection orders like right before they came down on orders to go to Abu Dhabi or something like that, or Dubai, to go sit outside Dubai for 6 months. So I got my orders, and so I went on rear D, and
Man,
no,
you can
but
train like crazy then.
I was able to. I use the word manipulate, but I was able to get what I wanted out of first sergeant and the commander. So I volunteered to start doing Soldier of the Month boards, and I just I won them all, uh, except for like the post Soldier of the Year. I got second, um, but I won all of them up to that point. And um, once I started doing that, the command just let me do whatever I want. I would go to lunch at the CrossFit gym. I would train there. In evenings, we were walking. PT, they'd let me go and do whatever I wanted during PT in the morning. So I got to train how I wanted to train for the waist, and I ran the training room for the first sergeant, and I just did a good job. So I really had a long leash to hang myself with, and I just didn't do it. So
So when you get back to selection, um, what's the emotions there? You know it's got to happen this time. I've got to think that you think that in your head. It's got to happen this time.
oh no, I knew I was going to get selected. Everybody did, and then I did. I went there to do the thing, and I did the thing. Um, I was a lot more relaxed, but way more serious as well because um, I knew the schedule, and selection was exactly the same except for the last day. So I knew exactly all the stuff that was going to happen. So uh, yeah, is that cheating? No, it's just I knew what was going to happen, and I was ready for it more. Uh, I guess from a mental side and preparedness, and all of that fed into everything I did on the front end. And then when I got there, I just executed, and I got selected.
There's got
It
to
was just
be,
a thing to accomplish.
but there's got to be tough days along the way. There has to be days that you want to quit, days that you want to walk away.
No, no, there was no day that was. It sucked. There's points that it sucked. I didn't want to quit. I liked it there. I was having fun. Like it sucked. Yeah, sucked and it was hard, but I didn't want to go back to Fort Sill, go back to a battalion staff position and do Soldier of the Month boards again. Being miserable in the Bones Fort Creek in North Carolina was way better than any day I had there. Like, I was getting to do fun stuff with like-minded people, and you know, yeah, doing down pilot sucked. It was very painful, but I'd do that again. Yeah, sign me up. Let's go.
So, so when you're there and you don the green beret, what are you feeling that day? Because here's the thing with you, I can never, I can never really read what is going to be your possible response because every time I think that I've listened to you enough or I've heard enough stuff, you throw a curve at me. So I got to know the day you put on the green beret.
I don't remember. I don't remember, man.
That's an
That was,
important time. I mean, you said
you know,
yourself that green beret saved your life.
yeah, it
So
did. But all this stuff now, and I want to stress this a lot. I don't trust my memories at all, really. I I'm having memories of how I think I felt. These are just hallucinations, And now with the show, I get to work through some things and go back and pick up these little points in time, little snippets. That's why I miss having like I wish I had pictures because when I look at a picture, man, it could just pull me. I stare at it, like pull me right back there, and something clicks, and I go, yeah, okay, now I remember. But it's so difficult for some of these things because they're just gone. Like they don't store, and you're like, oh, what do you remember about graduation? Ah, the officer uh, giving a speech. Don't remember a single word he said. All right, gentlemen, don your berets. That's there. And I don't remember being on the stage. I remember sitting out there in uniform, waiting for the ceremony to go on. But no, I don't remember anything. Now feeling, great accomplishment, right? But the cadre had made it very clear you haven't accomplished shit. You're going to group and you're going to be the new guy. So you knew you're going right back to the bottom again when you go to a team. So I think that was there of like, yep, this is just the first step. We've now accomplished the first step with the last 2 years of work, over 2 years of work to get there. It's time to get to work. So, yeah. So I got the thing though, singular focus, and got to it, got my tab, got my beret. I got my Yarborough knife, which the kids don't get anymore. They get a dagger, which is awesome. And, yeah, and that was it. Off to Fort Lewis, Washington. Yeah, but yeah, it sucks because that's interesting you say that, right? You always think I'm going to say I my answers also range on my emotions. Like I went to the gym today so I could be tired, sitting here a little more tired, so I could be more relaxed. And but I talk, all I do is podcast, you know. So if I'm a little more tired, then I'm not overthinking my answers and everything. And some of my answers will change by how my emotions are. So I try to be, and that's why, telling my story, it's like, if I tell something that's one way, but that's just what I'm remembering or the way I'm remembering it at that time. It's not that like I'm making something up. It's like, that's what comes up when I remember it. And so I'm very, I'm very suspicious of my memories. And God, that's fucked up, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
I think that I I think at a certain point it can be a bad thing though, because when you're too guarded against stuff, your story is not put out there. When you
That's
don't
okay.
trust no, it's not okay though. That's the whole point of your podcast. That's the whole point of my podcast is to get
Everybody
people's
gets little
stories out there.
snippets. Everybody gets little snippets here and there, here and there.
Yeah, but they don't
Keeps you
get the whole
keeps
picture.
you coming back. They're going to. We're going to get an episode eventually. I hope. My buddy's not going to listen to this, but I got my buddy. Runs a big podcast. He's a civilian, and he's going to moderate the episode with me and do it. And we're going to sit down and go through everything as I remember it. But he's just got to pick a date. Adam Thorne, damn it. But you're right. No, you're right. It's the same thing I tell people. It's like, yeah, let's talk about your story. Some people, no, that ain't me. Okay, well, maybe you'll change your mind in a few years. Maybe you'll want to tell it. One guy came on and we didn't even put his last name up. We just put his first name, and he wanted it just for his kids to see later as like a record. And that changed my whole view on things. People may come back and look at this down the road and be like, that's how he was at that time, or that's how they were. Oh man, look how proud they are of their service and stuff like that. So yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm right. Everybody else is right. And whatever, as long as it's a positive thing and you're not bringing other people down, but and yourself, not bringing yourself down as well.
So when you go to your ODA, you go to a dive team ODA. This is 2015. You go over there.
Yeah, I graduated the October of 2014, and with that, you're gonna go over the holiday break. So I think I got tasked with something. Yeah, Veterans Day parade, and everybody, the last two classes of the year all got held over Christmas. So you PCSed over Christmas leave, and I got to Lewis in the winter. Yeah, it was January, and then we didn't get to the teams or the companies until the end of January because it was like a 2-week thing or something to in process. It was funny. I think some SF guy had gone AWOL during the in processing or something like that, and they used to what was that? They used to let all the SF guys just go to their companies and do it all by themselves. But some like senior leader abused the process. And then, so now everybody had to do PT with, with the post and everything. So I didn't get to to company until the end of January, and, sat down with Sergeant Major. there's another guy next to me because we both went to the same team. And only thing I remember from that whole meeting, which I'm sure it was a pretty, 10, 15-minute conversation. The only thing I remember is he asked if I could swim. And I said no. He said, great, you're going to the dive team. Wonderful. My greatest fear of coming out of the Q course has come to life. And that was it. Yeah. The only thing I didn't want to happen happened. So that's how it went.
So how do you be the best at that? You've always wanted to be the best at everything, and how do you be the best at that then?
Oh, God, I don't know. You can make yourself do a lot of things. I've been afraid of the water my entire life. And it's not like the swimming, it's the unknown of what's down there. Like from a little kid, we used to go out on Bull Shoals Lake in Arkansas. And as soon as I realized there's a whole nother world underneath there, I did not like the water. We started pulling 4-foot, 5-foot gar out of there. That is a scary fish to a 6-year-old.
Oh, it's a scary
And
fish to an adult.
I guess, yeah, as soon as I said that, it's like, it's still obviously still scary to me. Like, I'm an adult,
Yeah.
I'm a grown man, and I wouldn't get in. Like, I was just out working a job, and we were on the lake, and I'm looking at the water. It's a reservoir lake. I was like, man, that water, it's hot. And it's like, that water looks refreshing. I ain't getting in there. There's probably some bluegill in there or crappie that are going to bite my toes or something. Or irrational fear. So it's just the dark water. So I don't know how we get over that. But whatever, you got to make the best with what you got. And you can't quit. So you're going to MAC eventually, Maritime Assessment Course, and you're going to have to figure it out. So it's the team sergeant's job to train you up to be a diver. And I guess it's time to get after it.
When you were talking about the alligator gar, I think back at one point in my career in law enforcement, I was a police recovery diver, and we would dive in, the rivers and the lakes and everything to recover. And we used to have stuff bump into us underwater.
Nope.
And
Nope. Mm-mm.
the way I got through it was I said, I just don't want to know what it was. I would rather not see what it was. Just take the bump and move on.
Nope. There's no air under there either. There's not like,
Right.
If we were, and what's the other joke that every other team makes? Because we've done so many subsurface infills in the history of special forces. It's 0. We're at 0. So, okay, yeah, I understand the need for it. Air, land, and sea. We got to have it, but they're just better Green Berets than me. Also, like every Navy SEAL is a diver, but not every Green Beret could be a Navy SEAL. Like if you're a diver, you bad dude. Like you can stay calm under the water. Your fitness is obviously at a level where you can get attacked under the water and keep your calm and hold your breath until you can remedy these deficiencies and get your stuff working again. And pass all the events. And so not hating on them, they're just better Green Berets than I am in that area, but much better divers. Like, I can go past the events right now. We can go jump in the pool. I'll pass the events, but I don't know if I'll get any further than that. Yeah.
So how was dive school?
I didn't get to go. So I think Mac. No,
this goes back to that thing where I think that you're going to say one thing and it's the complete opposite. We talk about how much your fear came true, how much you train up for it, and then you don't go.
No, I didn't get to go. Here gets fuzzy, but this is the day in question. So that was the end of January. Our first training exercise as a team was in April in Astoria, Oregon at Camp Rylea. This picture okay. Right here is, I don't remember this picture. I don't actually know how we got it because they're out in the water. I don't remember that picture being taken, but I'm in there somewhere, and there's 10 dudes in that picture. And who took the picture then? Oh, God. Anyway, getting wrapped around the axle here. So that was sometime in April, I think mid-April-ish. I was supposed to go to MAC, which is pre-scuba, the next week, which I would have failed because not only did I not know how to swim, I was not good in the pool, would freak out under the water, all kinds of terrible things. It would have gone very badly for me. But, you got to go. Maybe you'd get better. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have. Maybe I'd have died, and then we wouldn't be here. But didn't end up going. We went. So we were. What was supposed to happen that day? So we were supposed to go out and do BLS training, which was beach landing seizure training. I believe that's what it stands for. And, an ODA has 12 people on it. We did not have 12 people. We had 10. So we're down 2 people. So we had 10 people and 2 boats. We were supposed to be out in 3 to 5 foot waves, and we were out in 12 to 15 foot waves. We were supposed to have the larger horsepower engines, which were either the 35s or the 55s. We did not have those. We had the small engines so we didn't have enough power, and we were in too rough a seas. I think we were supposed to have the hard bottom for the boats, and we had the soft bottoms. I could be wrong on that one. And we definitely should have kicked out the rescue swimmers, not where we were. And when they got out, we went way underweight, and things went kind of downhill from there. So we're out in the ocean. The rescue swimmers get out. We're a couple miles, 2 or 3 miles out from the shore, and they got out, and they're going to swim to shore and signal that it's okay for us to come in and take the beach, right? And as we turned to go out to calmer waters, we just launched up this massive wave into the air. And so I'm on the front right of the boat, and I just went way up in the air out of the boat. And then the boat kind of fell back with the ocean. It just washed down, and I fell all that distance onto my head, onto my face, back into the boat, and bounced off the front of the boat into the water. And so I remember like this like coming to under the water, looking up, and they're pulling me in, and then what else happened? Like, kind of, yeah. The medic was on the engine. He's like, "We're going in," and right as he said that, we flipped over, and we spent like another hour and a half, 2 hours, just getting absolutely thrashed by the ocean, to the point where we couldn't flip the boat over anymore and get in it. We just draped ourselves over the side, and then a wave would flip us over, and we'd fly off, and then we'd swim over and drape ourselves back over the side until we got pushed all the way into shore. So yeah, before we got to shore, I got hit in the head with the engine at one point again as well. So 2 pretty severe, knocks to the head, with some momentum. The one was like quite a ways fall down onto my head, and then the engine came up into my face when the wave knocked it off the transom as I was setting it back on the transom. So the wave come up, knocked it off, lifted it up into my face. And yeah, we got to shore. Medic grabbed me. He's like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." And that's kind of where that cuts off. And I know we went to get some food. I was okay. I would have recovered from those 2 probably just fine. I was okay. I remember the team sergeant for some reason made the decision not to send me home, and because he didn't want an investigation to get started. So I don't know how he did this. He overruled the team leader, who's a captain, and said, no, we're keeping him here. We're going to continue training. And um, didn't work out for me. So I stayed, and I think we did some stuff. And I want to have some of the guys from the team come on. There's some of them are out. Most of them are out now, and kind of fill in some of this stuff for me. But we went to go get some food, and I went to get into the van, and I grabbed the handle, you know, in the van and the TMP, and I pulled that door frame so hard into my face that I let go, and I fell and bounced my head off the concrete. And that was it. That was over. It's that ended my career. That little, and I say, you know, oh, you pull it into your face, and then, but the one bouncing my head off the concrete, I've done that injury quite a few times, and that one ended my career. So when my head hit the concrete, that was it. I we went and ordered, and we went to Taco Bell, I guess, and got some food, and they said I kept ordering the same thing over and over again until they stopped me. So I would order, and then I would order the same thing again. And I think because they gave me this big bag of food, I did like 3 orders, and we got back to the team room, and I started throwing up, and just like, that was it. I think they went back to the hospital, or we went to the hospital again, got another CAT scan or CT scan or something like that. And yeah, that was it. I think finally they sent me home after that. Um, yeah, yeah, that was a lot of fun. So,
Yeah.
experiences may vary, but yeah, that was it. So Team Sergeant didn't want to send me home after the first 2. I think I would have been fine. I hadn't, but and then when that third one happened, all of the pain and injuries and and effects and side effects of headaches and head injury all came back from all of my injuries my whole life. This like metallic searing pain in my head, um, shooting pains from my eye down my back and my leg. I'd get these like they were like, you know, I know what you did last summer. That meat hook like would grab me in the face and like pull me back. I'd get these shooting pains and spasms and stuff. Um, I didn't get out of bed for 45 days, 30 days or something, just on convalescent leave, I think, or something. Lost a bunch of weight. Yeah, memory, all kinds of stuff. So, but like one thing that's come out of it is again, I don't really trust my memories. So I don't, you know, some of it's like, yeah, I know this happened, but I'm like, did that happen? And I start get like down on myself. I'm like, man, that didn't happen. Like it wasn't that bad. Like you're fine, you know? And, but yeah, I remember the pain in my head, and it was enough to where that was it. I was never going back to a team. I was a liability at that point.
Did you have any kind of personal life while all this is going on? I mean, after you got your Green Beret and all of that, did you have girlfriend, wife, any kind of
I
relationships outside the army?
Oh yeah, yeah. I had a second. I was with my second wife at that time um, when I got hurt, and yeah, that didn't last much more after I got hurt. A few more months, I think. After that, we got divorced or separated or something like that. Yeah, but
That have
yeah, I
anything to
did.
do with the injury?
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Probably not. Probably. I mean, it could have. Everything affects everything, right? But uh, I wanted to go like just get better. I wanted to be better, and we didn't work very well together. Uh, so kind of just I don't know if it would have ended eventually anyway, but it just didn't work out.
So, okay. I know you don't trust your responses and stuff, but I gotta ask. Then you get divorced. You can't ever go back to an A team. I know that you were working B team support and stuff like that. You did all of this stuff to become a Green Beret. Your first training evolution takes you out of the game for good. I got to know what you're feeling like.
Denial, probably for quite a long time, because you think everything's gonna be okay, but some of these things they didn't go away. So I got hurt in April. Came back to work in maybe June, July time frame. Something started coming back half days. Um, I'm yeah, and my first appointment over at the TBI clinic, I think, or the yeah, where was it? It was somewhere. Yeah, it wasn't far from the compound. And I mean, it'd been 2 months since I got hurt, and I threw up at that appointment. I was so dizzy and like vertigo like. And the lady said to me, she's like, you're gonna have to get medically retired. You can't stay in the military like this. And I disappeared at that point into group. I was like, that ain't happening. And Sergeant Major and Commander took care of me and let me do that. And I faded back into group because technically nothing happened. I don't think there was an official investigation. And I was okay. Let's see if he gets better. I didn't get better, but I didn't get better enough to go to a team anyway. But I went to Korea for 6 months on the B team as like a junior Charlie, and then came back, worked another deal to go back to Korea for 7 months as a senior Charlie on the B team. And then when I came back, I went to battalion staff as a battalion Charlie. And I kept doing things that other people didn't want to do. If they didn't want to do them, I was like, I'll do that. But I was trying to be useful. But I mean, you want to be on a team, but also if you can't be on a team, you're on the B team. Well, you support the teams. There's nothing wrong with that either. It's when it ended, really, is like when it was over. That's the problem. I was, I was fine. I think I was fine with still being there, and then I wasn't.
So, do you think that answer that you gave just now, I'll do the support team, I'll do whatever anyone else won't do, does that ever become a selfish decision?
Oh, I thought about that. So if I knew what I know now, I'd still be in the military. Because would know how to make the deals, how to say the right things to the right people, to continue to disappear farther into special forces. Right? I thought I was going to go back to Korea and disappear into SOC Corps, Special Operations Command Korea, and take an L&O position up there for 3 years. And everybody would have forgot about me at that point. And that would have been, who would have that been serving? Well, was my career going to go anywhere doing only staff positions? No. Other guys didn't want to do those positions, but they might be career enhancing. But if am I taking anything away? Could it be selfish? Could be. Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm not doing something, but still people have to do those jobs. If you can't do something, you can teach. I mean, the Army invested a lot of time and money in me, and I still feel like I owe regiment now with what I do. I'm very careful to support guys and regiment in a positive light. So I just do it in civilian clothes now. So yeah, obviously. But the whole thing is, I don't know if that sounds right. The whole thing is kind of selfish. We do the job for us a lot of times. Like, like, who are you proving stuff to? Not to the military. You're proving things to yourself that you either are the guy or you can attain that difficult, hard thing. So, to a certain degree, the whole thing is selfish. You're just doing it for a selfless. You're doing a selfless thing for a selfish reason, and it's two sides to the same coin. It's just a mutually beneficial relationship. Um, a lot of those guys have to perform at a high level. They need something hard or they're not happy. And the military provides this incredibly difficult job, this incredibly difficult professional job that they can do that, and it works out for them both. So, uh, no, staying around and hanging on and and would have been selfish and taking something from somebody else that could be on a team and and past the point. But we didn't. I never got to that point. I mean, I was I was helping where I could, and that didn't run out. At least I don't think it did.
Well, and
Anybody can change my mind though, and if they hit me up on Instagram and tell me the right thing too, because my view of myself is skewed, and people can change my mind pretty easily on that.
well, I guess the reason I was asking it was when you do that, say you do slip further and further into special forces and you kind of just disappear. I would think at some point with all the trouble that you were having still, you become a detriment to the team.
If I would have gone back to a team,
Yeah.
if I would have gone back to a team, yeah, absolutely. I Yeah, I mean, you disappear far enough, everybody forgets everything, and you know the right things to say and the things to say in the appointments and everything. Where you go, yeah, I could pass a physical. I can pass a physical, but can you get hit in the head, Nick? No, not even a little bit. Okay, that might get somebody else killed. That will get somebody else killed. Yeah, there's a line there. I thought about that a lot. So, but again, you justify getting out and all these things to say it's okay. It's okay. We did everything we were asked to do, Nick. It's okay. We got to let it go. You did the thing. Now it's time to do a different thing, a different way. You don't have to completely let it go. You don't have to stop being a Green Beret. You can still act like one, represent like one, be a good example to people, get your shit together. But that time's over. And some of it is to make myself feel better. But if I can, make myself feel better, then maybe I can make other people feel better as well.
Well, weren't you told by a sergeant major that you'll always be a Green Beret?
Yep. 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 First comment. Uh, my little retirement photo. Uh, that one there. Yeah. Sergeant Major Arntz. You're a Green Beret for life. Yeah. That's a true thing. You are anything that you do after that. If somebody finds out about that, you do something negative, it gets in the news or the press, or there's an incident, you are a Green Beret for life. They will put that at the top of the headline. They will highlight that you are a representative of Special Forces, especially if you do something wrong. That'll be the top of the headline. And you are a Green Beret for life. And you're always being assessed by your peers, by other people, by people that want to be like you, people that don't like you, people that do like you, that respect you, that support you. Everybody, all the time, all the time. It never stops, ever.
What do you think's been the most lasting physical or mental impact that you still deal with today with those injuries?
I go blind from time to time. That's a bummer.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. That's really the only one that kind of bums me out because I was on the treadmill the other day and I lost this part of my vision. You can't see from my perspective, but if you were looking at from my perspective, if you hold your hand out like right in your view, I lost that, and then it kind of moves out, and then it goes away. Sometimes I lose over 50%. Um, that started young too. When I started getting injuries and things like that, but that one's kind of a bummer. And probably the longest lasting, but that's over my whole life. That's been popping up with head injuries and things like that. Um, but the longer I get from being hit in the head, um, kind of the better I feel with because your brain can heal. Anything can heal, and I don't know, get closer to normal. So, but that one's a bummer. And then, but the longest lasting injuries, all the physical stuff. I hold a lot of muscle, and that keeps everything from hurting, um, joints and things like that. And so I just deal with the other stuff. Pain's pain. It's fine. It's not gonna stop me.
When you get told that you have to leave the military, you have to medically retire. And from everything I understand, that's what they pretty much told you. You have to.
Yeah,
We're not asking you.
yeah. I have a 3 on my I forget what it's called. We we were supposed to go to Afghanistan. It was a fast process too. As soon as it starts, it's over. At that time, I think they were in refinement. Um, at that time, they were trying to get the whole process down to like 100 days, and that was quick. I was done on leave or a few months afterwards, doing inventories to give everything away, and that was it. But um, yeah, uh, I mean, I think I still when it was happening, I still thought I could weasel out of it, um, and it not happen, and then it did, and it was over. So,
Did,
but once they get a hold of me at the appointments, they're like, you're done, you're out. Like everything was documented too, like because a lot of guys, um, and it's fine when you're in and when you want to stay in, but I couldn't avoid this stuff. It's on paper. Like I could have avoided it if it wasn't in the system. Like if there was no record of it, but um, it's documented. I couldn't get away from it. It was going to come up, and as soon as those people at those appointments saw that, they said, "Oh yeah, you're done." Like, yeah, this is an open and shut case of medical retirement board, medical evaluation board.
so when they tell you that though, you're kind of chuckling and making light of it now, but do you feel betrayed when they tell you that?
By who?
by, by by who you dedicated doing all of this for? You
Oh,
gave
regiment? No,
everything to be
no.
there.
The military, yeah. Like, so, like,
That's what I'm talking about. The military.
send me somewhere else. No, the military, yeah, like that. But we still fall under the policy of the military: deploy or get out. Or if you can't, if you're on permanent profile, you're going to get medically retired, or you got to do these stupid classes and everything. But people have said, like, send him to the schoolhouse. Like, yeah, send me to the schoolhouse. Let me do some time over there. Uh, you know, and things like that. Don't medically retire me and things like that. But yeah, I was not happy about getting medically retired. But whose fault is that? Well, one person. That guy right there. Fuck that guy. So that's it. I'm not. They should have sent me home after I got hurt, and it didn't work out. I'm not gonna, you know, yeah, I was mad about the whole situation, but I was poorly processing my emotions at that time also. Drinking too much, a lot of free time, uh, and all kinds of un taken care of injuries and things like that, and not maybe dealing with all the stuff that was going on, because it was I mean, I was only in group for like 3 years, and it was, it went by in 15 minutes, and that was it. So, one day I was walking in Sergeant Major's office, and then it was over. So, uh, it's
But I think this is the heart of the story, and I think that we're breezing over it. Let's dive a little deeper into what you're talking about there.
yeah. Which part?
The part where you say you weren't handling your emotions okay. You had all of this stuff from the past there. You're drinking too much. Do you think at any point that exasperated the injuries?
Oh, absolutely. Uh, yeah, we don't make good decisions when we're drinking. Um, but also like I showed up to work every day. I did what I was asked to do. Um, I was like okay when I got medically retired. Okay, in the sense like I'm not having these severe episodes very often anymore, like where it's severe pain and puts me down. But I couldn't get hit. Like I couldn't get hit in the head again. I couldn't get injured again, and that's a scary thought to think about because I think it's an injury you can't see for the most part unless you have a bleed or something like that. These are intensely painful injuries in your brain, like in my head. So I know they're real, but nobody else really does know they're real. So it's just yeah, and then you've got the thoughts of that. But I didn't want to get out. I still want to be in. I would steal somebody's identity to get back in. If I knew I could get away with it, I would steal somebody's identity to go back in and do it again. I loved being in uniform. But also that military that I was in doesn't exist anymore. That it's gone. After I left, things changed. Commands changed. Everything changed. So what I was in isn't there anymore. So that's over.
So why go back then? If that's a fantasy world anymore, why go back? If
Because
that's not there,
I still live in the life. I still use this as a as an intro to speaking to people. I still um, represent regiment. If and you still, I feel like it's hypocritical to be like to still be about the life and not say, yeah, I would go back. I would. I would go do it. Could my body do it? Yep, absolutely. Can my mind do it? Yes. Right now, I can do it right now, and but that's only to this point. I've gotten before that. Before I stopped drinking, no, I couldn't do it. I couldn't live up to what I needed to be. I couldn't. Wasn't there physically. Wasn't there mentally. And now I think I'm at that point, and that helps, right? Me for no one else, just for me, and I feel good about that. And I don't really like you said, about or no, like the water. I'm scared of the water. I'm in the pool 3 days a week for me because I'm terrified of the water. I go swim in the pool and it sucks. But I was on a dive team and I never got to get to that level of fitness. And, being fit in the pool makes me feel good. Like, we're not going to let getting hurt on a dive team bother us anymore. So I go to the pool and I work out to be good in the water for me, and that makes me feel better. So, but the big thing, positive in a positive direction. That worrying about being angry about getting medically retired, I'm going to be alone in my anger, and no one's going to understand it because I don't think I can put it in a way that anybody's going to understand what I say. They might have their own version of what I'm going to say, but I'm going to be alone in my anger in my head at the end of the day when those people aren't around for me to tell my story to or sit around the fire and tell story. They're alone. So that's gone. That's over. I do a lot of cool shit now in civilian clothes, and I still get to represent. I still get to do that, but yeah, that was a painful time, painful. And now I just don't. I don't want to be depressed about it anymore. I don't want to be sad about it. I did what everything my country asked me to do. I got my beret. I got my. I did what I wanted to do, and I'd go do it again. And yeah, but I don't know. Got kind of off topic on that one.
no, exactly the opposite. It's not off topic at all. Because I feel like that Green Beret is almost, you still look at it as your whole identity.
Yeah, why not?
Because
Why
it's
not?
not your whole identity. It's something that you did. It's a part of your story. It's a piece of you. It's not your identity.
That's only a toxic thing if you let it eat you alive, right? I thought about this so much lately of, everybody says it's not who you are. Why not? Why not if I do it in a healthy way? Why do I have to why not? Sergeant Major said you're a Green Beret for life, right? I can do that. I can embody all that. I can be that person that people look up to. There's people I don't even fucking know that look up to me. That's crazy to me. That watch what I do. That is absolutely crazy. That people I don't know look up to me. And God, the people that have known me, that supported me my whole life, that look up to me, and maybe you know, okay, what have you been looking for your whole life, Nick? Maybe it's that. Maybe that's the thing that you can put yourself to and be like, I embody those characteristics. That is what I wanted. This, bro, I only wanted that. There has been no fulfillment with anything other than what I'm doing, and that's all tied to the beret now too. I only wanted to do that. I got everything I wanted out of my life. There is nothing left to accomplish. I did what I set out to do, and that's it. Like, and why can't I continue that in a healthy manner and help other people get that accomplishment out of their lives in a healthy way, and not like, oh, yeah, just sit around and do this. No, fucking take action, live up to your potential, live all of those values. And it doesn't to that. I just got to the top of where I wanted to go in my branch of special operations. I couldn't have been a SEAL. I can't do the fucking water. I could be a Green Beret though. So yeah, why not? Just
But
don't become a toxic, like, look at me, look at me, look at me,
I,
this person.
I,
So
I 100% agree with everything you're saying. What I'm saying is that I think you sell yourself short because it wasn't the Green Beret that made all those things happen. All of those things were inside of you for people to look up to you, to carry yourself in that manner. That was all there before the beret.
no, it's all
You had
choice.
to have those in order to earn it.
Yeah, it's all choice, right? You
Yeah.
choose to do those things. There's only one type of person in the world, and they all have a choice to be one way or another. There's not two types of people. There's only one type of person, and they all have a choice. They make a choice. And guy I had on 18 good guy. He said, I think a lot of people uh, go and do these hard things because they already think they're that guy. It just gives them a title to put on it. Maybe I can't define it. Maybe it is, but I don't feel happy anymore. I don't really feel too much sadness. I'm content. And if I can stay there, I would give up being happy for the rest of my life if I could just feel content like this the rest of the way. That'd be great. And continue to do that. I feel like I owe something to regiment. I owe something to the people who took care of me, commander and sergeant major. And if I can continue that, then that would make me feel like I'm doing something still, like I'm contributing, like I'm, who did he say the other day? One of my guests said, I want to win, wanted to win. Why'd you go to special operations? Why'd you go to RIP? I wanted to win. Yeah. What are you willing to do to win? So, uh, I don't know if I don't think we're disagreeing too much, but
I don't think we're disagreeing at all. I think we're looking at it from two different viewpoints, though, because when you just said that, once again, it sounds crazy to me that you would give up happiness to be content.
yeah, I like content. Yeah. Happiness ends. It's, just goes away. And then you're sad because it's gone. You know?
But without pain, there's no pleasure. Without happiness, there's no sadness. Without sadness, there's no happiness. Like that's the cycle of life.
Or we just define it differently. The thing exists, and we just define it differently using different words and words that make us feel better about what we're doing. So if it's just the cycle of life, then that thing is finite and it exists. And you and I just use different words to define it.
So being content with your life is a fantastic thing, to be content, because I love being content too. I think personally with me, I couldn't give up happiness and stuff though, because I guess I want to feel that whole range of emotions to let me know that I feel, I guess, alive. Then that excitement, that rush, all those different emotions make me feel differently when I'm content and I'm calm. And then, when it amps up a little bit and you gotta bring your A game and stuff, I think that's where I'm at in my life right now. I think that the way you do it though with the positivity is so great that you don't let anything bad affect. Can we say that? You keep,
Try,
yeah, you keep it all at bay.
we talked, we talked before we started recording. I take it very personally when people attack my guests in the comments, because I care about what I'm doing and I care about the people I have on my show. Um, and people are very quick to hide behind
A keyboard.
but keyboard or whatever, or just direct message that person or give them a call. The internet is what the internet is. Some people are bots, some people are trolls. They're just trying to stir people up. But everything is geared. Social media, in the principle, is geared towards negativity and unrest. It's designed to grab your attention and make you watch. And you scroll, you see something that's either horrific or offensive. It grabs your attention, and then every once in a while you'll see something where you're like, that's pretty cool, and that's bad that stands out. Where every 20th reel is something that's positive and kind of brightens your day up, and that's the one that stands out. That's fucked up, right? That's fucked up. So there's so much negativity. We are severely negative bias as well. We could have 100 good things happen to us in the day, and we'll only focus on the one minor bad thing that happened. We were out, this was a year and a half ago. We were out to breakfast, my wife and I and our friends, in Kansas, and breakfast was terrible, but we had so much fun during the day, and even making fun of it. But we focused, the entire day was focused on this bad breakfast and this bad service or whatever, right? And we were just focused on this negative part of the day, the bad food. And I'm like, hey guys, do we realize that we had 14 fun things happen today that we haven't talked about one time? We focus on this negative shit, and I think it just brings us down until everybody's on this more sad level. And I just kind of want to do the opposite as much as I can.
So when do you think that changed? Because when we very first started talking in the conversation, you said that you were a complainer about stuff that was going on. You made jokes about it and stuff, but you still were complaining about stuff that was going on. So when do you think that switch happened?
Do you take notes? I have to take notes. Just a sidebar here for you, because you're very good at interviewing, and I don't see you writing anything down.
I'm not. Right. No,
I
don't.
You've been doing this a long time, right? Because you said police interviewing people. Yeah. I'm just over here and going, man, I wish I could do, because I'm having the podcaster conversation in my head. And I'm like, man, he's keeping, because I got my own notes in my head and I don't see you writing anything down. Like, man, this is impressive. He's going back and forth to these things and all this. I'm like, man, so you're very good at interviewing people. I feel bad for the people that do crime in your area.
Me too.
They won't be listening to this.
I do not think they will be. Yeah, that's definitely, they're not big followers.
Shout out to the criminals.
Yeah, they're not big sponsors or supporters of the show. But so when do you think that changed though? When you because it almost seems like
That's when I lost my job. I lost my job selling commercial vehicles, like a year ago, like just over a year ago. And I came home and I was like, oh, I am so glad I don't work there anymore. It's a good job, good paying job, and I didn't like it. I don't want to go be stuck in a building convincing people to buy my truck. That's fine. Maybe demeaning on myself. Like, Nick, we got to be doing more with our lives than going and sitting in a building working for somebody selling their product. Let's do something else. So I felt so good when I got out of there, and I was at home working out for like a month and a half or so. Yeah, like a month and a half, and then, excuse me, fortunately or unfortunately for many, and this is the only part of this that I feel bad about, is that, you know, through tragedy comes like good things. That hurricane went through North Carolina. So bad, so awful. Uh, my phone rang, or no, maybe I got a message. Doesn't matter. Hey, we got work. Where at? Hickory, North Carolina. All right, I'm on my way. I packed up my stuff, drove down to Hickory, North Carolina, and worked for 2 months as part of the North Carolina Emergency Management coordination effort in Hickory, North Carolina, living in a closed community college right there in town, and worked 12-hour days, managed the people in our little company that we kind of managed the facilities at this college, while North Carolina Emergency Management and then all these other different agencies ran through there. And the National Guard was going in there, and we had all these different entities going through this building. And then that got less and less until Thanksgiving, and then we shut that site down. But in the acute phase right after the hurricane, it was very, very busy, and then that tapered off the whole time. But during that whole time, I feel like I'm doing something for other people. Yes, I'm here getting paid to be here, but yeah, we all got bills to pay, right? And so I tried to talk myself off of that point. But somebody's got to do that. So went down there, worked, managed that site, and I just felt so good afterwards. And I was down there helping other people, helping North Carolina out, which taught me everything. Like, that's where the Q course is. And I worked with a lot of other Green Berets and heard stories about what other Special Forces guys and Green Berets were doing out in the zone to help other people. And I thought that was awesome. And even I'm working on my next project is to tell people some of the things that lesser known operators did in North Carolina during the hurricane relief effort and still continue to do. So I came back December, kind of got back on schedule, and then I woke up in January and it's like, okay, I want to start my podcast. And I just that day started it. What is it? First name I wrote down was lesser known operators. Done. What are we going to do? We're going to interview special operations guys and gals and tell their stories as best we can. Okay, what are we going to do? Get the camera, get a monitor, get a mic, get some lights, get it all, got it set up. And that was in January, and here we are. So I think getting to do something again where I felt like I was useful or helping was where it changed. And going and helping out, because I didn't do much. I wasn't helping get mud out of people's houses or, and things like that in the zone. But I was doing a good job at what I was doing where I was. That was the job that I went down there to do, and I did a good job at it. And I felt like I was useful in helping other people again. And okay, how can I do that on my scale? I don't have a company set up. I don't have the tools anymore like I used to have. I talked about a long time ago having a podcast where I interview people, and okay, we've got time, let's do it. And all right, what level of commitment are we going to do? All of it. We're going to do all the commitment we can manage with our limited knowledge of technology, and that's what I've been doing. And
So
yeah,
would you say you're always trying to be a better version of yourself?
now
So
now,
so can I point something out real quick?
I mean, you're going to anyway.
That would be the opposite of content. That's why you're such a puzzle to me.
Okay. Let me give you a little on the content side. I was happy when I was drinking. Like I would have emotions and like range of emotions and be happy and think I'm having a good time. And drinking was a euphoric experience. And I would, there's a certain amount of people that experience a rush and it's euphoric to them when they drink. I feel like, I don't know if this is the case, but I feel like that was the case. And that all went away. And now I just want to be content because happy, that feeling is associated with a destructive behavior. And if I can be content and help out and be useful, then I would maybe that would make me fulfilled. But I'm also very like, I guess say that I'm an optimistic pessimist. Uh, I'm very cynical in it as well. Like happiness ends. All these things end. They end in sadness. And yes, enjoy the moment. And I just have a tough time. Like there's always this hammering clock on everything that you enjoy doing or you're happy with ending, except life. Doesn't bother me one bit. Like that is the only thing that I know for certain that I'm gonna die. And man, that's comforting. That is comfort. Like I know for certain that that's gonna happen. I don't know anything else is gonna happen. I can't I can't guarantee anything else in life. So it's this weird way of describing and all this stuff that's going on in my head, flying around and talking to people. And that's why it's when people are like, oh, I don't want to tell my story. It's like, oh, I don't think I want to explain this crazy mess of words and webs in my head of how I feel about things. Because it's like when I say it, it sounds crazy.
Yeah. But a lot of things sound crazy until people understand, and they can never understand where you're coming from until you put that story out there.
They can. They just get to know me. Give me 6, 7 years of hanging out with me, and you'll get to know me just fine.
if you could describe in one word the goal for your life,
Purpose. Yeah.
why purpose?
Because then what else are you doing? That's my purpose for being here. I I I have these 5 questions over here I ask all my guests when they come on um, the show for the first time. I ask them the same 5 questions, but when they come back, oh, what am I going to do? I kind of fumbled when I had my first return guest on. And then when I had my second on, I was like, oh, I know what I'm going to ask. Only one question. When you come back on my show, I'm only going to ask you one question. So in Jordan Peterson's first bestseller, 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, at the end, I need to reread this so I know exactly what I'm saying here. But at the end, he gets this pen that you can write and it lights up the page, right? You can write in the dark. And he says in there, what will I do with my pen of light? And so when people come back on my show, I ask him that. I explain that little forward to him and I say, what will you do with your pen of light? Pen being like a euphemism to what they're doing now, whether it's a book, whether it's a project or whatever. With me, it's lesser known operators, right? What will I do with my pen of light? And a question I had to answer first. What will I do with my pen and pen? I was like, good, right? Good. Okay, that's my purpose, to do good, but have a purpose, to feel like I'm doing something worthy of what is it worthy of? Like helping, helping other people. And there's all other things that pop up. Like the more you talk, like my friend's suicide affected me really poorly 2 years ago, and then another one this past a couple weeks ago. And my friends, all these like worthy of a life that people would want to live, that are no longer here, or people that are left behind that knew them would say, this person would be really proud of you, or But yeah, one word: purpose. What's my purpose? To have a purpose.
Did suicide ever come into the picture with you? Even ideation?
Sure. I mean, it comes up all the time, especially with the talk, because I'm forced to talk about it. But, was I ever going to check out of the hotel? I don't think so. I was probably going to drink myself to death. That's a lot easier to do than to summon up the courage to end it. But even, I mean, but trying to drink yourself to death is even worse, because not only are you killing yourself, you're killing everybody that you know, and all of those relationships, and everybody that cares about you for years. Um, so no, I wouldn't say it's worse. That's not true. But it's like this long, slow, agonizing pain for everybody else. It's a different thing. I didn't mean to make that comparison. It's not worse. I don't mean that. But it's terrible as well. So, but
You drink it
there's a
all
lot of
anymore?
no, no. I have root beer. Oof, we got some good root beer here in Wisconsin, man. But yeah, I have a root beer every once in a while. Sprecher. They're delicious, made with honey, and I have those. And I got into the little nicotine pouches for a while there, but I found out those were making me depressed. Um, so I only have like one a day now, which is like a nice little treat. And I drink a lot of water. I eat a lot of beef. I work out a lot. I'm very strong, very fit, and I get 8 hours of sleep. And I joke that I'm the strongest, fittest retired Green Beret you'll ever run into. That's not true, but in my mind, it is. Like, that's what I'm striving to be. It's not true, but I can try and back it up. That one I can get close to, but in my mind, that's the goal I'm striving to be. So,
You think you're the strongest you've ever been right now?
oh my God, I'm a monster. I, I never thought I would get to this level of fitness and strength. Um, I'm. It's not like, back to it. I am so at such a weird feeling that I want everybody to get to where they want to be in the gym, so that they can be content with where they're at. Because everybody always like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. Okay, let's do that. Let's work towards that. Yeah, it's I love going to the gym. Did I replace the alcohol with the gym? Absolutely, 100%. I did. But this one's a little bit healthier for personal relationships and health wise. So,
How are relationships now?
okay, I'm pretty quiet. Um, I talk a lot for this. Every new friend I make, I get to have a 3-hour conversation with. Um, I'm focused. I'm deeply focused on what I'm doing. This whole thing, this lesser known operators, is the first thing I've wanted to do since I wanted to go to selection. And then selection's all encompassing with selection, the Q course and graduation, and then group, and then all the military career. But this is the first thing I wanted to do. And it's, I want it to work. I want it to work so it can support me, and then I can do good for other people, to help other people if they need help, or even support other people that are doing the work to help. And that's why I say, I'll talking about other people so easy. Highlighting the people that are doing good things for other people is so much easier than doing it for me. I'm not doing anything, but man, but I've found I can gather a following, and I can highlight the people that are actually, they have these programs and they're doing these things or writing these books. Well, that's what I offer. And if I can do that, and I found that that's what I'm good at. I can speak. Okay. I have a little bit of talent in speaking, a little bit. Well, let's turn that into something. Let's get better at it. Let's speak more. Let's try and use less ums and likes and all these other things that continue the conversation. Let's get good at that. And that's what this is. Like, I get 3 hours of practice almost every day, talking to people and interviewing people, and to get better. I want to be able to give a keynote speech on no notice, no notes at any time. Drop of a hat. That's how good at speaking I want to be. And hopefully that can help people moving forward, and help like other veteran nonprofits or soft nonprofits and things like that in a way that's good for them and good for me. And we all have a little bit more positivity and care for one another more, and just be nicer to one another. I don't know. It sounds kind of cheesy, but I don't know. I think it's a nicer way to look at things.
So last question.
Yeah,
You
man.
said this was the first thing that you wanted to do since selection. But
Yeah.
you also told me that there's a hammering clock that everything comes to an end.
Oh, yeah.
Does the hammering clock happen for this?
There's no completion to this. Like I said, when I, man, when I look at graduating and getting my beret and like the group, right? What else do I have to prove to anybody? What else is there to any mountain? Having things or getting to a certain point or any of this stuff is like a goal. It was never enough. Like, it was never going to be enough in any of that either. So this doesn't have to end. It's just the way I look at, living this life or representing this way. It doesn't have to end. I end. This, I could get this to a point where I could hand it off to somebody else and they could continue it on and do good with that, and just hand it off to somebody that can make it their own or make it better in their way. I have a expiration date, but art or an idea, it doesn't. Your career ends, all of your relationships and everything, it all ends eventually. If you create something that can go on and hand it off, it's not beholden to me. And that'd be cool, right? To create something that you hand off to somebody else and they can make it their purpose in their life, and maybe it'll change. Maybe it'll go off into something else and we don't know. The technology could take things this direction or that direction, and we have no idea what's in the future. But yeah, I don't think so. I don't think like that. With that, because there's no specific goal every day. We're not working. Yeah, to get it to support. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what any of these attainable things even are. I'm trying to outwork my severe lack of knowledge in this area. And it's, I don't know, it's much different. And I'm not going, I am going to my office, the same place every day, but I'm not going to somebody else's place and making them money. And I don't want to be beholden to anybody like that ever again. Hopefully, you can inspire some other people to do the same things if they want that, if they want that for themselves as well.
Where do you think that this is going to take you? What's next for you, you think? I mean, you said that this will go on, but what do you think is the next kind of guidepost that you go, okay, that's done. Now let's move on to the next thing. But what do you think that next guidepost is?
I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I described it, I think yesterday, as something is going to happen. I can feel the vibration of an impending something in my actions, that something's going to happen. I'm amazed when people reach out to me and they either like what I'm putting out or they want to come on the show or things like that. And I was completely unplugged from the community in January when I started this, and now I'm back in, and people think I've been back in this whole time. And the only way I'm going to have that is like network. And no, and if I'm not making any noise, nobody knows who I am. I have no idea what's going to come up. I've applied to some things that didn't work out. That only made me work harder now at what I'm doing with this when that didn't work out. So I don't believe there's a, a plan. I don't think everything happens. I mean, that's not true. I think everything happens for a reason, but only from a cause and effect side of things. Like if I drop my pen and it hits the floor and breaks, it broke because I dropped it, not because there's some plan or anything like that. I I, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think there's a plan. I feel like, yeah, we create our own luck, and that luck is a byproduct of the situations that we create for ourselves. And no, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen at all. I don't really care, actually. I just, yeah, that's it. I don't know. It makes sense to me in my head, and I like it.
Well, and I understand what you're saying when you don't care. You're open to anything happening with this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're going to be literal, no, not anything. But
Okay.
yes.
Nothing bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it involves some dark water and some fish, I'm out.
Okay.
We're drawing the line. But
Where can people find you?
all names, lesser known operators at gmail.com and all social media platforms, lesser known operators, except for X, which is like lesser known op or opper or something like that. They only gave me 13 characters. So it's 13 characters. And then, but I don't post on there at all. Instagram's the main effort. And I think I post on Facebook and Threads as well. And Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's the big thing. The best way, and if you're listening to this and you want to support this podcast, Dynamic Tales Delivered, DTD, or mine or any other one or anybody's Instagram page for free, is just click like on their posts on Instagram and drop one fire emoji and then continue to scroll. That will help them way more than just scrolling past and doing nothing. And it's completely free. So that's the best way to support.
Man, I'm glad we did this. I think this has been a great conversation. You're still to me a puzzle, and sooner or later, it might take me a while, but we'll figure it out. There's definitely more conversations between me and you to come.
Yeah, if you want to look at the flip side of things, there's, yeah, at least I'm not a criminal. And we're having this dance in a cold room, and you go, Chief, I don't know what this guy's saying. You know?
All right, guys. that's going to be the show for this week. Let's talk about, we know where you can find Nick now. Let's talk about where you can find me. As always, you can find me on Instagram at the DTD_podcast. You can find me on Facebook at the DTD podcast. You can find me on YouTube where all these conversations, they're in video form at the DTD podcast, Dynamic Tales Delivered. Like we said before, though, we're a one-stop shop. DTDpodcast.net. It's going to have audio, video, what we're doing, blogs that we're doing, what's coming up on the show. Everything is right there. Nick will have his own page. You can look at some pictures of him there. We can do a couple different things there, but make sure you go there. You can find out everything that the show is about there. Let's talk quickly about who makes this show happen. My buddy Hoot over at Nomadic Research. I wear the shirts every week. I tell you about the bags that I take on my travels with me. But anything to make you look cool in the urban environment, the combat zone, or just around your house or in the airport, Nomadic Research is the guys. They have hats, shirts, hoodies, backpacks, anything that you could think of, they have you to make you look cool in front of everyone. Make sure you go check them out, nomadicresearch.com. If you get with me, I can get you a little discount code for some of your stuff, but you got to private message me for that, nomadicresearch.com. Guys, that's going to be it for this week. Make sure you go check out Lesser Known Operators. This guy is fantastic, and he is talking to everybody. He's launching like 19, 20 shows a month, and please go support him. Be a friend, tell a friend, share, like, subscribe, all of those things. Like he said, it's absolutely free. That's Nick. I'm DJ. This has been the show. We'll catch you guys on the next one. See you later.